Hi everyone, I'm Ben.
And I'm Mike, and we write songs together under the name The Kelly Line,
By the way, Mike's my dad.
which of course makes us a father-son songwriting duo. And when we're not writing songs, we're generally chatting about writing songs, and we thought it might be fun to share some of these thoughts with you.
This week we're talking about some of our songs that we're particularly fond of that perhaps haven't been as well received by other people. So Mike, what are we talking about today then?
Well, we're talking about songs that we've written and we really like, but when we played them to other people, they haven't been particularly well received.
One song springs to mind pretty quickly for that, to be fair. Ferryman was loved by us, but not by many other people.
We were so excited when we wrote it, weren't we? So excited, and kind of like two of us ended up being excited, and everybody was a bit of a damp squib, wasn't it? But go on, give us a blast, remind me.
Who will pay the ferryman for our rendezvous in hell? Have you got a soul to sell? Have you got a soul to sell that's worth the selling? I thought it was the best bit of music I had ever and would ever write at the time it came out, or like the time we wrote it. And that turned out not as we expected.
And I thought, to be honest, it's very difficult to talk about this, isn't it? Because you sound like you're blowing your own trumpet. Sorry, it's not pun intended there, but they were some of the best lyrics I thought I'd ever write as well. I was really pleased with it. I was absolutely mortified that nobody seemed to like it. But I suppose, hey ho, that's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily a case of like no one seemed to like it. I think it was just that I remember the first time we played it live was like our second ever gig in Giddy Who, and like it's not that people didn't like it; they just clearly didn't like it as much as most of the other songs. Possibly just because like we were an unknown band who like had been playing some pretty upbeat songs so far, and then the song starts with that like finger-picked, quieter stuff.
Yeah, that's maybe true. I think the other thing for me is there's only two people that know the story behind it, me and you.
Yeah.
I wonder how significant that is, because it's a song about betrayal. We talk about how many pieces of silver. There's an obvious Judas reference to that.
Yeah.
But it's more than a song about betrayal. It's a specific betrayal by a specific person in a very specific way. So there's a huge amount of emotion there for you and I.
Yeah.
But for nobody else would actually know that. I mean, we're not going to tell the story. We're not going to give away too much in terms of the details. But do you think that's got something to do with it?
I don't think so, because like Bob Dylan, one of the best-selling artists of all time, and half his lyrics don't make any sense to anyone else.
You do realise you've just compared us to Dylan there.
I mean, not in the way that you might expect, but no, I'm saying that like evocative nonsense can get through really well sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just wonder sometimes if you, for example, I'm a big Springsteen fan. Everybody knows I'm a big Springsteen fan. But the song Long Time Coming, for example, it had never really meant much to me. And then I heard Bruce Springsteen tell the story behind it, and I was like, "Oh, right, I get that now." I
suppose.
And I love this. I love the song now because I know the background behind it. I've often wondered if that's not a factor with Ferryman.
Maybe. I think a lot of it probably comes down to the fact that like if people are investing in you, like people might be investing in Springsteen, then they're more prepared to give the benefit of the doubt to like long downbeat intros, especially in a live setting, whereas we haven't necessarily earned that yet.
Yeah, I think
the rest of the song gets upbeat and more driven and like what we are like normally, but the intro was fairly long, and in fact most of the times when we have played it live, the intro was even longer, or like the first bit was even longer. We kind of trimmed it a bit afterwards.
It's nearly a 5-minute song, isn't it?
Yeah, of which half of it is the first
Yeah.
two verses, just because of time.
I think they call that a slow build. But we've also we've recorded it twice in different ways, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Both of which have their merits. I'm not sure which I prefer. I think it's probably the first one because I like big drums and lots of stuff happening.
I think I like a sort of halfway house. Funnily enough, there's bits of the first one I like, and there's bits of the second one. The second one we recorded, there was an accordion, wasn't there?
Yes, it was basically vocals. It was me on acoustic guitar and vocals, then Ruben on accordion, and Yestin provided some backing vocals.
And then the original version, as you said, there were big drums going on.
Drums. There was this at the end. There's this mandolin part which was literally recorded in one take because I was like, oh, some mandolin might be quite cool, and I managed to somehow accidentally solo the mandolin part perfectly first time, as in no bum notes, which is almost unheard of, especially seeing as I don't play the mandolin particularly well.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to make a comment about your mandolin playing, but
funny story about the vocals for the original version of Ferryman. It was actually recorded not on Christmas Day, but it was the day me and my flat in uni were having our Christmas dinner, and it was recorded as our oven was exploding. I was up in Yestin's bedroom recording vocals. I came back downstairs and the oven had completely blown, and we had to finish the rest of Christmas dinner in a wok.
Oh, completely unconnected though. I'm sure absolutely nothing to do with the song, but
hopefully
some of the lyrics still remain some of my favourite lyrics. What you sow is what you reap. So, Mister, start your reaping. Yeah. And men ask why Satan smiles, the angels gently weeping. I was very pleased with them. I know that sounds a little bit immodest, and it's not meant to sound immodest. It's almost surprise, really, because they came out well as well as I was hoping. Let's put it like that. That's my favourite part of the song, by the way. Give us a blast of that.
I'm going to play a bit before because I think it's one of my favourite bits of vocal to sing. It fits really nicely in my throat. So I'm going to sing a bit before it and then go on a bit afterwards, just because I want to.
Yeah, fair enough. Go on, give it a go.
Wait, I just need to work out key. For you desecrate the memory when you abdicate your throne. We were born to die alone. We will reap what we have sown on that bright morning. And in the final reckoning, when we tally up the score, when the less becomes the more, it is tempting to ignore our mother's warning. What you sow is what you reap, so Mr. Start your reaping. Men ask why, as Satan smiles, the angels gently weeping. So let me ask you, what you selling for? How much silver do you need to make it worth the price? So let me ask you, why do you want more? How much silver makes it worth the sacrifice? And then
very good,
so forth.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I like it. You like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I guess it comes.
Who knows? Maybe in a decade or two, when we're best-selling artists, multi-platinum records, people will come back to this and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a hidden gem. That's a track that not many people paid attention to when it came out."
Oh, well, it would
or
be...
people will still not care. Who knows? It's one of the two.
I tell you what, though, I think it is quite a hard listen. It's a hard. When I say it's a hard listen, it's a hard subject matter, isn't it? I mean, it's not cheerful. It's you certainly wouldn't call it froth. And poppy, and it's a certain, you've got to be in a certain mood, I think, to listen to music like that. I don't know. Sometimes you write a song and you think, well, that's not very good, or you don't give it a lot of thought, and it's well received. It's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, I contrast. That song was written good couple of years ago now. I think 3 years ago. I think it's 2017 song. I'd guess. I reckon we wrote Ballad of the Bee around the same time, and I kind of wrote Ballad of the Bee.
Ballad of the Bee was much earlier, though, I reckon. I think anyway.
Put it this way: they're not recent songs, are they?
No.
But Ferryman was one of those songs you're like going, oh, I can't wait for people to hear this. Ballad of the Bee was one of the songs we wrote and kind of like going, okay, we finished it, Something and Nothing song, and didn't give it any thought. And yet that goes on to be quite well received in relative terms. There's no rhyme nor reason to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and in contrast to Ferryman, which was released twice, the Ballad of the Bee was almost released about 17 times, but we just never kind of found a place for it because we were always going kind of like, I think we've got better.
Yeah.
Then probably a lot due to Connor and Jack going like, no, this song actually is really good. And us going, oh, fair enough. This does seem to stick in people's heads when we do play it occasionally. And so we record it and at last it comes out and it's actually quite well received. It is.
And we should say as well, just assume everybody knows, Connor and Jack.
Guitarist and bassist
for the Kelly line. Yeah, they really liked it, and it's been well received. I guess it comes down to, why do you write songs? Why do you write songs? Do you write songs that you like, that you want to hear, or do you try and write songs that are going to be well received?
Yeah.
My question to you: what's your driving force? Why do you write songs?
I like to write songs that I feel good playing, either because I think, ooh, that's people like that, and that makes me feel happy and validated. Or I like writing songs where when I sing it, I'm like, I feel cool. I feel like I have achieved something of sufficient quality that I feel good about myself in doing it. It's probably the general answer. It's not so much I'm writing for people to enjoy this, or I'm writing to write the next masterpiece. I'm writing to make myself feel good. I think it's probably my feelings on that.
You've got to write something that you're happy with first of all, haven't you? You've got to write something that you like. Otherwise there's no chance. I mean, I always see it that if other people like it, obviously that's nice. Of course it is. You'd be lying to say it wasn't. But it is a bonus, isn't it? So Ferryman remains one of those. Did I ever tell you that I was singing it? I was on my own, and I was actually walking up Trevan. I was climbing Trevan, and I'd been playing around with the idea of who will play the ferryman for a while. And I actually was singing the lyrics out loud. There was nobody else around. It was like early dawn on Trevan, and I was playing around with the lyrics, singing at the top of my voice. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I thought you were going to say something different, and you were going to say what lyrical structure you based it on.
Oh no,
that is something you have told me before.
Oh, go on, reveal all then. Reveal all.
Shall I?
Yeah, go on.
Who will pay the ferryman for our rendezvous in hell? Have you got a soul to sell? Have you got a soul to sell that's worth the selling?
Hey, that's really good. That's really good. If only I had written, "Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me," it would have been well received and we'd be famous and hey ho ho. Yeah,
I think blame my tune then, clearly.
You're absolutely right though. I was like going, which is one of my favourite songs of all time, Mr. Tambourine Man. Why is it my favourite song? For all sorts of reasons, but not least, I just love the lyrics. And what would that structure look like? Could I take that structure and write my own song? And that's what. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I based the structure on Mr. Tambourine Man. Hey, there you go. I like that version, by the way.
It worked better than I thought it would. I can't even remember the chords of Tambourine Man.
Do you know nobody's ever said that? Nobody's ever said, "Oh, that's based on Mr. Tambourine Man." In fact, you didn't even know, did you? When you,
I didn't work it out. To be fair, it's only loosely based on it. There's some syllables that it's not a one-to-one mapping, so it's kind of easy to read it and not think Mr. Tambourine Man. And then also Bob Dylan has that habit of doing repeating lines more than you'd expect.
Yeah,
da 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 da.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. He can repeat that once. He can repeat it 3 times. He can repeat it 4 times.
Yeah. He can get away with it though, because he's Bob Dylan. I mean, he can get away with anything. But no, it remains one of my favourite all time songs. That's Mr. Tambourine Man we're talking about now. Yeah. But in terms of our songs, I still would have Ferryman up there as one of my favourites that we'd ever written. But I mean, it's okay. So it wasn't as well received as we'd hoped. So so be it. You have to take it on the chin and move on. Talking of which,
moving on. There are a couple of other songs that I feel like have been less well received than they could have been. There's actually one
like all of them.
yeah. We should be multi-platinum artists by now. God damn it!
How can people not realise?
What other songs are you thinking of?
Well, around that time, I was writing Ferryman, or writing the lyrics to Ferryman. Unmarked Grave was written. Oh, there you go. That brings back memories. Give me a bit more.
The solitary glass slipper that never seemed to fit toppled into the abyss as we start to reminisce. Now the melody of youth has lost its meaning.
Very good.
I haven't had to do that falsetto bit in ages. We don't have many songs with falsetto in them. So
I do like that.
Yeah.
Well, Unmarked Grave was written around the same time, and I remember similarly, I was very excited with Unmarked Grave. And how wrong can you be? Once again,
I think it's less so with Ferryman. But I think one of the main reasons that Unmarked Grave doesn't get played as often and therefore can't get as much love is because we've written quite a lot of songs, and most of our set, like the way we want to sound live and how it seems we're best received live, is quite high energy, fast stuff.
Yeah, true.
Which means there's only a couple of slots in a set for stuff that isn't high energy, fast stuff. And there's other songs of that ilk that we've done that get received much better. So we kind of, Unmarked Grave had to kind of disappear.
So I guess, I mean, you'd be pretty daft to keep on playing songs live that weren't as well received when you know you've got other songs in your repertoire that on the law of averages are going to be better received. It's a real tough. It's a tough decision though, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I wonder as well with Unmarked Grave is if it's one of those songs that unless you really listen to it. In fact, for me, when I listen to a song and I think, oh, I like that, I generally look up the lyrics. I like actually having the lyrics to read. And I wonder how many people actually misinterpret what the song's about.
Maybe. I think lyrically it is up there. I really like it. Especially the way that like the end, like... It's like an alternate chorus, but it's not really an alternate chorus. It just kind of is. The way that it fits in my mouth. But
Rome is still burning as hell's fires freeze. More questions than answers blow in on the breeze. Time to decide which god to appease. The more I find out, the less I believe.
I really like the way that those words fit in my mouth.
What a strange expression, but I know what you mean. That line was quite an important line. The more I find out, the less I believe was actually quite an important line. It comes back a few times, but the other line and the big push line in the song is "I don't want to see my name on an unmarked grave." Yeah,
it's the middle eight kind of bit.
I thought you
don't want to see my name on an unmarked grave.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not played that fast normally, but
I think people kind of misinterpret that as a kind of like a depressing, negative type vibe. But that's not how it was meant at all. It says, I don't want to see my name on an unmarked grave. In other words, I don't want to spend my life not doing anything.
Yeah, I suppose that might be a failure on my part then, prosody-wise, because the song is it's very minor and that kind of sad-driven. It's almost kind of anxious panic to it in the music. which, when coupled with those words, might be quite easy to interpret. So that might be a failing on my part.
But if you were a teacher, which I obviously was for about 150 years, you'd almost chastise a class of children and say, no, listen again, listen carefully to what it's actually saying, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Do you think that'd go? Do you think that'd go down well at a gig if you actually said no, listen,
listen.
Stop talking, listen to the words.
I feel like I probably wouldn't want to do that, just because it's a bit more aggressive than my normal stage patter.
Yes, yeah, for good reason. Do you know the background behind that song?
Possibly. I might be reminded of it when you say it out loud.
I bet you are aware of this. Where I kind of started writing it. I was watching a film, one of my favourite films. Ringing any bells?
No, not ringing any bells.
Okay, so the film is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I know you're not a Western fan, but if you're a Western fan and you know The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, there's a scene at the end. There's a 3-way shootout in a cemetery. And I think the scene, that classic Good, the Bad and the Ugly music, the atmospheric stuff, I think the one scene, the 3-way shootout, lasts for about 20 minutes. It's absolutely brilliant. But the gold is buried in a grave, and it's an unmarked grave. And so that kind of, watching that film, was like, oh, unmarked grave. And that's where I started picking up my notebook and started scribbling. And the rest, as they say, is history. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, I don't know whether you ever told me that story, or if you have, I can't remember it particularly well. It rings a bell, but then again, you talked about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly before in other circumstances, so maybe that was it.
And you've completely ignored ignored all comments about that. But that's where it started, and I suppose I was and I remain quite. It was one of those songs as well. When you have an idea for a song, but you can't really execute it, if that makes sense. You can kind of know there's a song somewhere in your head, but you can't actually get it out. It doesn't come out the right way. Well, this was one of those songs that actually did come out. Yeah. It might not be very good. People might not like it, but at least we managed to write the song we set out to write. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
And the other thing to say with Unmarked Grave is we recorded it again with accordion and harmonica, didn't we?
Yeah, it was on the same EP actually as the second version of Ferryman, Like Father, which does seem to have taken a bit of a beating in this podcast.
No, it wasn't. It was Like Son, wasn't it?
Nope, it was on Like Father because Like Father is the acoustic one.
Oh, of course, no. Oh, yeah, blooming heck. I'm the father. I'm
Although,
assuming.
Speaking of Like Son, to be fair, when we wrote Stop Digging, we thought it was fantastic. Like, we were really happy with that. And then I think it's possibly just because live it doesn't sound as good without the harmonica. I think we played it in like 2 gigs as like the closer, and then just disappeared from the set.
It's a fair comment, actually. The harmonica in Stop Digging. I wonder, can you you can do clever things, can't you, with this podcasty thing? Yeah. Could you play that introduction from Stop Digging with Leo's harmonica? Could you
I'll play a bit. Let's go.
Could you drop it in?
Yep. Here we go.
And we're back. But that harmonica, without the harmonica, that song is nowhere near as effective, is it? I mean, would you agree with that?
I still think it's a good song. We never managed to play it right live. I think
I really like that song with the harmonica. I like it a lot less without Leo. So I suppose a lot of it comes down to, and again, we're assuming people know.
Leo is the guy who did all the art for well, all the early Kelly Lamb releases and some later ones, but also harmonica player and my mate since I was like 4.
Yeah, 4? I think you do go back
Yeah.
to since you were 4, and he's fantastic. When you play together as well, you can tell your mates you've got that kind of chemistry that you've known each other for a long time. So Leo's harmonica is really important in Stop Digging, but it's also important, I think, in Unmarked Grave. Really important.
Yeah, and Ruben Grief, who was playing the accordion on Unmarked Grave, that really helps to add some kind of weight and power behind it without getting in the way. Like, it's a really nice, warm texture.
I can remember the night we recorded that, because I was staying in Cardiff in a hotel, wasn't I? Cheap hotel.
Yeah.
I'd come down, and the three of you, Ruben and Leo and yourself, practiced those songs in a tiny little hotel room, like half an hour before we were due to go into the studio. And we'd just bought a box of tea bags, and there was and a pint of milk, and there was one mug, and I was making tea for you all, and we were all one mug between three of you, and I was on tea duty. Which, there you go, I know my place. But I think
absolute insane things we used to do pre-COVID.
Oh, I know what make it sharing a mug, crikey!
Sharing a mug, absolute maniacs we were.
I know. Yeah. I tell you what, one of the songs that has absolutely amazed me with how well it's been received. Mm-hmm. I had the lines 7 sins in 7 cities.
Yeah.
Which I always thought the next line was 40 days and 40 nights. I just really like that. 7 sins in 7 cities, 40 days and 40 nights. I had no idea what to do with those lyrics. And they were there. They must have laid around in my notebook for about a year. And then we finished the song. And to my absolutely amazement, it's been well received, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, kind of. When we first started playing it, like, it was all right. People liked it. It was cool. But then it just kind of, I don't think we thought it was as good as it appears to be thought of. So we kind of phased out in favour of other songs and worked on different things and got other kind of songs into our set that we were playing. And then I play it every so often at Porter's open mic or at gigs. And just, it was really surprising when, like, it was almost as if, like overnight, very sudden, when people started saying to me that they either started requesting 7 Sins at gigs, or they were like, that's my favourite song. Or I think Alistair from Fiasco said to me, is like, he thought it was a fantastic piece of songcraft, I believe. I think we were driving to a practice session when he said that. He then said that he could see it with strings and stuff, like a whole orchestration, which actually could sound quite cool. But yeah, it went from like being all right received, but we kind of phased out because we thought we had better stuff, to suddenly people just started asking for it, and it's now a regular in the set again.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean,
before.
I'm delighted people like it. I'm absolutely delighted people like it, but I am surprised, because I'm thinking, there's better songs than that. But it does feature the line, pulled by 17 white horses dressed in flowing robes of red.
Yeah. Can
you imagine? It's almost like somebody bet me. I bet you can't write those lyrics into a song, but it features, and it seems to work. So cool.
It's also the only song we've ever written. Like, if anyone out there is analysing our music, they might notice that I'm quite a fan of key changes at random points. But it's the only one song we've ever written really with like a cliche key change in it, where instead of using like a pivot chord where we do something fancy and it changes key without you noticing, it's just straight up like the final chorus of a pop song kind of thing, where it just goes up. Because you have the so let the poets tell their stories and the minstrels play their tunes in the original key, and then it goes blowing as the sun obscures the moon, and then it goes up a key into the final chorus. 7 sins in 7 cities, 40 days and 40 nights, battle scars and souvenirs, just to win the bragging rights. 7 sins in 7 cities, sent for 12 good men and true. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I'd leave it all for you. And it just changes up key for the final chorus.
Well, there you go.
But who cares? It's great fun.
That'd be a quiz question one of these days. You never know. It's about I guess it's the nearest song we've got to a sort of like a dancey sort of song as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I do want to re-record it, and someday we will play it live with. I want a horn section to like ba ba da ba 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 da da ba, that kind of dancey.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it. Absolutely brilliant. You know, I mean, I'm just grateful for anybody who actually listens to one of our songs. it's an absolute bonus if they like them. So it doesn't really. I suppose it doesn't matter if one person likes one song and another person likes another song. But Ferryman and Unmarked Grave will remain two of my favourites at the very least.
Yep. And Seven Sins will remain everyone else's.
Yeah. So I guess then you're going to play out with Seven Sins?
Yep. Seven Sins. We'll play the actual track. Not with horns yet, but, one day it'll happen.
You can just imagine it with horns. So, well, thank you very much indeed for listening. And we'll catch you again soon. And in the meantime, I hope you all enjoy Seven Sins.
Princes in the evening, frogs by morning light, tripolite fantastic creatures of the night, notches on the bedpost dancing flames to keep me warm. Home is where the hack gets laid and shelter from the storm. 7 sins in 7 cities, 40 days and 40 nights, battle scars and souvenirs just to win the bragging rights. 7 sins in 7 cities, 7 for 12 good men and true. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I'd leave it all for you. Trouble in the garden, stealing apples from the tree, dancing with the devil, footloose and fancy free. For every broken promise there's a story to be told. Gone before the sunrise, all that glitters must be gold. 7 sins in 7 cities, 40 days and 40 nights, battle scars and souvenirs just to win the bragging rights. 7 sins in 7 cities, 7 for 12 good men and true. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I leave it all for you. With that benefit of hindsight and with the innocence of youth, with my hand across my heart, I'll tell you nothing but the truth. The truth, the truth, the whole truth. I'll tell you nothing but the truth. Always tell their stories and the minstrels play their tunes. Now the winds of change are blowing as the sun obscures the moon. 7 sins in 7 cities, 40 days and 40 nights, battle scars and souvenirs just to win the bragging rights. 7 sins in 7 cities, 7 for 12 good men and true. It's a bitter pill to swallow,